Welcome to IQ Matrix TV, the home of hundreds of life-altering mind maps. This is Adam, and this is part 3 of a 4-part series of videos where we discuss how to influence people in a very subtle way. In part 1, if you missed it, we discussed the idea of teaching, specifically using storytelling, stories, metaphors, analogies, parables, to inspire people, specifically to inspire how people think about their life, their circumstances, their problems in empowering ways. It was essentially all about changing and shifting people's perspective of reality, so to transform how they think about that reality so they can be their best selves and make the best of a situation. So if you missed that video, definitely do check that out. In part 2, we talked about how to challenge people. So we talked about how to use challenging as an influential tool. And we specifically broke down how to challenge people in a variety of different ways, as you can see here in this branch. So I won't go through that here. If you missed that video, definitely do check it out, because the first 2 videos, the idea of teaching and the idea of challenging, intertwines into the next topic that we're going to talk about in this video, which is the idea of leading people, of becoming an influential leader. It is, of course, very important that we first address the idea of not challenging, but specifically teaching. Address the idea of teaching people and then challenging people first. So challenging and teaching is part of leadership, because as a leader, you will be teaching and you'll be inspiring people, right? You'll be inspiring them. So you can use stories and everything like that. So inspirees, that doesn't make sense, but I'll just leave it there. Let that be a goof up. Challenging people. So you'll be challenging people in a multitude of different ways as a leader to be their best selves and to make the best of every situation, which is essentially the underlying theme of this whole map. So right here, a leader is effectively a role model. And we're going to discuss that to some extent when we discuss how to set an example, how to be a good example as a leader, and in order to help guide people in the right direction. But specifically when it comes to leadership, leadership is all about empowerment. It's all about empowering people and guiding people in the right direction. So one question you could ask yourself that could sort of set the scene for all this is, how could you get the best out of people in every situation? Or how could you empower people in every situation to get the best out of their abilities, to help them accomplish the overall goal that you are working towards, that your team is working towards? So right under here, as well as we need to empower people to be their best selves and to make the best of every situation. So again, we're touching upon that underlying theme. But one of the key factors to leadership that we need to be able to address immediately, and without leadership, but without this, leadership is not possible. And that is, we need to empower people to accomplish your vision. And effectively, you need to have a vision. There needs to be a vision for the future. Every great leader has a vision for the future. So if you want to develop influence, that influence comes through your vision, because that vision motivates, inspires, and empowers people to move in a certain direction. That vision is absolutely essential if you want to become an influential leader. As a leader, we need to present people with a compelling vision of the future. The key word here is compelling. So we need to get people excited about the possibilities of accomplishing a vision for the future, right? So you need to be able to develop that vision, because without that vision, it's not possible to lead effectively. It's not possible to lead with influence, because you're using that vision as a sort of like a magnet that draws people towards a certain goal and objective, and also towards you, because you're like the engine behind that vision. So that's very important. So that effectively comes down to infusing people with a little bit more enthusiasm and joy. They need to feel that joy and that enthusiasm for this vision. If you cannot infuse people with that joy and enthusiasm, so enthusiasm and joy under here, then they won't be motivated. They won't have that desire to accomplish that vision. So one way to infuse people with joy is make your energy infectious. If you're not excited, if you're not excited about the vision, about the possibilities of accomplishing that vision, then don't expect the people who you lead to be excited as well. And one of the keys to generating that enthusiasm is to create anticipation or generate anticipation for accomplishing that vision. So this is where you tell people, this is where stories can come into play, right? Stories, what we spoke about in the first video. This is where you can inspire people through stories about moving towards that vision, about what that will mean for them and for their life. So that's something that we can sort of build upon. And the other idea is challenging. Challenging. We touched upon in the second video. So we can challenge people towards that vision, challenge them in exciting, empowering ways to accomplish that vision, to work towards that vision. So if you can infuse both of these ideas, the stories, the challenging aspect of things, into here, that will help you to create that enthusiasm and will help to build that anticipation for accomplishing that vision. In this next section, we're going to talk about, which encompasses this entire area here. All this effectively comes down to three things. And I'm going to zoom in so we can just write them out here. Three things. If you can get these things right, then you're going to have deeper levels of trust, deeper levels of respect, and deeper levels of admiration. And these three principles, 1, 2, 3, are the bedrock of leadership and of influencing people. So if you can get these three things right, you can get them at a high level, then you will have a deeper level of influence over the people you're leading towards that vision. So let's explore these areas. First of all, we need to be able to trust people's judgment. So we need to trust their judgment to effectively make the right decisions. So right up here, we must avoid micromanaging people. And that's one of the key factors we need to avoid at all costs, because most people, I won't say everyone, but most people don't like to be micromanaged. They like to have the freedom to do certain things their own way. Yes, you can guide them, you can provide them with the instruction, the direction they need, but you need to be able to give people the flexibility, the adaptability, and the freedom to make their own decisions in certain situations. So trust in their judgment. And that, in essence, helps you to build that level of respect. So that's the first key. Trust in people's judgment and help them to make, or give them the freedom to make effective decisions. Secondly, we're looking at three key areas that will help you develop more trust, more respect, and admiration. First of all, there's authenticity. As a leader, you need to be authentic. That effectively means you need to be honest, genuine, and real. Authenticity will help you to become more approachable in these sort of situations where people will come to you for guidance, for directions. But if they feel like you're being fake, if they feel like you're being incongruent, and I write here, incongruent, which is something we're actually going to discuss in the fourth video. We'll talk about the importance of congruence and how we can use that to motivate people. But that's something we'll touch upon later. But if they feel that you're incongruent, maybe you're one way with some people, one way in another sort of situation or whatever that may be, that will lose you respect. Okay? That will lose you that level of respect. And if you lose that respect, you're not going to have that influence as a leader. So you need to identify, well, how can I be authentic? How can I be a more authentic and real sort of person? How can I show them my true self in certain sort of situations? So that's incredibly important there. Next one is vulnerable. We need to be vulnerable. And by being vulnerable helps you to connect with people at a deeper level. This is all about just being emotionally human. There's some situations where, we don't want to show our emotions, but it doesn't mean that you're weak when you display your emotions. You can be resilient and still display your emotions. Just get through things, in a bit of a different way, but you're not hiding your emotions. You're being vulnerable. You're opening up to people. And that, again, leads to your authenticity as well. That interconnects with that. So they're all intertwined. So that can help you to develop deeper levels of trust, respect with those around you. And again, that helps to improve your level of influence over those people, because as your level of trust and respect goes up, so does your influence. And the final part here is encouraging. We need to be encouraging of people. We need to support them. We need to guide them and support them every step of the way. So this is not about being critical. This is rather about being encouraging, providing them. Yeah, you provide them with the adequate feedback they need to get the job done. This is all about constructive feedback, providing them with valuable information about what they're doing and how they can improve what they're doing in order to accomplish certain goals and objectives. But essentially, we need to be able to show our support for people in a multitude of ways. We need to understand what they're going through. We need them to understand that we understand what they're going through. That's the only way that will create a deeper level of trust and bond between us and them. The final part here is to be an inspiring example. Effectively, what I mean here is we need to look at being a role model or adopting a role model sort of mentality. And why is that important? Well, we need to be able to lead from the front. And that's where we gain a lot of trust and respect from people. People respect those that lead from the front, that get dirty, do the dirty work at times, and show how things are supposed to get done. We don't respect, on the other hand, people who stay in the background, who don't connect with us, who kind of stay away, who think that they're better than us. You cannot be that kind of person. If you're going to be that kind of person, then you're not going to have that influence, that subtle influence that you need to lead people down a certain direction. So you need to get involved. The right under here, get involved and lead by example. Okay, that's the key here. Lead by example. Be an inspiring example in everything you do, in how you talk, in how you act, in the decisions that you make, in how you treat people. All that needs to be part of what you do as a leader. Only in this way will you develop that trust, that respect you need to be an influential leader. The final aspect of this picture is to equip people with adequate knowledge, skills, and tools to effectively get the job done and accomplish your vision. We need to be able to not only present people with a vision for the future, we not only need to guide them towards that vision, we not only need to excite them about that vision, but we also need to provide them with the adequate knowledge, tools, skills, resources, and the support. Here I write support they need to accomplish that vision. Knowledge to accomplish that vision, skills, accomplish that vision, and tools to accomplish that vision. Everything needs to connect back to that vision. If you can provide people with the adequate knowledge, skills, and tools, then that does one thing for people. And I'll zoom in a little bit here. It empowers them. Powers them. Powers them, all right, empowers them. Right here. Okay, it empowers these people because it increases their level of competence, because now they know what to do, they know what it takes to get a job done, and that also enhances or builds their level of confidence. And we discussed that in another video, I'm not sure which one it was, but we talked about the idea of competence and confidence loop. So as our competence goes up, our confidence goes up. And as our confidence goes up, our competence goes up or improves. And the way we do that is we need to provide them with the knowledge, skills, and tools. And in the previous video, I provided you with an example of coaching sports or basketball specifically, where I coach youth basketball. And I need to provide, from a leadership perspective, I need to provide these kids with the adequate knowledge about basketball, about understanding how to play the game, about understanding the rules, about understanding how to, use different sort of situations on the court to their advantage. I need to provide them with the adequate skills so they can perform to a certain level on the basketball court. And I need to provide them with maybe training tools so they can improve those skills over time. So we effectively need to give people what they need to accomplish their goals. And that requires maybe different sort of resources, articles, knowledge, information, whatever that may be. And essentially, as a leader, we need to provide people with guidance. That's effectively what it is. It's adequate knowledge through guidance. And if we can do that successfully, then we've done our job. And that in itself, just by the fact that people, just because of us, because of what we have provided them, have gained the adequate knowledge, skills, and tools to get something done to accomplish a vision, that gives them the confidence, that gives them the competence. And as a result, they have a deeper level of trust and respect because you become the provider. And I write here because that's important. You become effectively the provider for these people to accomplish these things. But all in all, these things here should help the person to be their best self. So essentially, we want to help them to not only grow in this situation, but grow as a person in a multitude of other situations that they can apply to other aspects of their life. And if you can do that as a leader, you can expand their awareness where they can use this knowledge, skills, and tools in other aspects of their life. Wow. That takes your level of influence to another level. Takes that level of respect they have for you to another level. That's essentially what we need to do. And when it comes to basketball, that's essentially what I try to do as well. I look at basketball, or I teach it from the perspective of basketball is kind of like life. It's kind of like the game of life. Well, whatever you experience on the basketball court, you can actually apply that into your life. How you deal with negative sort of situations, failure, mistakes on the basketball court, that sort of translates to how you probably deal with those situations in life. So if I can link those two together, that creates a deeper sort of trust and bond between me and the other person, because they see that I'm not only trying to help them in this situation, I'm trying to teach them valuable lessons, inspire them, or challenge them in order to apply that to other aspects of their life. So that's incredibly important. And if you can have a think about how you can apply that in your situation, then that could be one of the greatest valuable tools you can take away from this map. Let's now explore several questions that will help us to identify how we can develop deeper levels of trust and respect. Because that's essentially what it means to be a leader. We need to have that trust and respect. Otherwise, we can't have that influence. We won't have that influence over other people. So trust and respect is incredibly important. Let's look at a couple of questions here and then a few thoughts about this. So first of all, you need to ask yourself, as a leader, how can you develop more trust? And that needs to be on the top of your mind all the time, because trust leads to influence. And then influence helps you to guide that person towards that vision, towards accomplishing that vision. So how can you develop more trust? And one idea here is develop trust by being a good listener. So we need to listen. We need to care about people. We need to be openly aware of people's needs. Right here, needs, wants, desires, whatever that may be. We need to be aware of these things. If we're aware of these things, then we can adapt. We can adapt and we can help people to move in those directions. Develop trust by demonstrating that you understand the other person. And that, again, comes back to understanding their needs, understanding their wants, understanding their desires and what they want to do, what they want to accomplish. And also understanding, I'll write under here as well, understanding their I'm not very good at doing these star things. struggles, understanding their struggles. So where are they struggling? And then we can address those areas and help them through those struggles. And that's effectively what will help you to develop deeper levels of trust, because they see that you understanding them. And because they see that you're understanding them, they open up to you. And that trust and bond is raised to another level. Another question that we should be asking ourselves as leaders consistently is, how can I gain people's respect? Respect is also an important factor to influence. To gain respect, we need to be authentic, vulnerable, encouraging, and an inspiring example. So that comes back to all the stuff we talked about down there. So that makes sense. We won't explore that any further detail. Trust people's judgment and give them the respect you want to receive. So, as a leader, we need to be able to just show a level of respect and maturity when it comes to people. And that comes down to understanding the situation, understanding what they're going through, understanding their struggles, and any sort of emotional sort of issues that they might be experiencing. And that, in the long run, can help you to become, or not become, but bond with that person at a deeper level. And then here, right, when you have people's respect, you will also have a greater level of influence. And that also applies to trust. We build that trust, we build that respect, then we develop that deeper bond with that other person. I think a lot of leaders, not a lot of leaders, but some leaders would actually maybe step back from the situation. They like to provide instruction, maybe tell stories, inspire people in certain ways. But the leaders that gain the true respect, they're the leaders that get into things. They're the leaders that get involved, that show people how to get things done rather than just telling them how things should get done. So show people the way. And a question you could ask is, what actions would you like people to model? Because if you can provide them with the right action steps, the right behaviors, set their example of the right behaviors, then that will give them something to model. But if you don't do that, they don't have anything to model that they can work on and, move towards that vision that you have for them. And then what qualities may you have to exude? Maybe it's resilience. Maybe it's demonstrating patience. Maybe it's discipline, being focused, or whatever that may be. That's something that you need to sort of apply in your own sort of situations. And the last question I want to address here comes down to collaboration. So the question is how to encourage collaboration. So with all the other things that we've discussed in this branch, in this video, we've talked about how to develop deeper bond and connections between us and the other person, trust, respect, admiration, whatever that may be. But here, what we want to do is we want to develop that bond between people in our team. Because if we can have everyone working towards the same vision plus goal in collaboration, collaborative effort, and you're getting them excited about moving towards that vision and goal, then that creates momentum, builds momentum. And then you not only have influence over individuals, but you have a greater degree of influence over the whole entire group. So one of the questions here I ask is, how could you gamify tasks and projects to make them more fun, challenging, and exciting? And then one final question is here, what value will people gain from collaborating with each other? And this all comes down to benefits. You need to be able to provide people with benefits. How will they gain from collaboration? What's the bigger picture? How will moving forward today help to improve their life, improve the whole group, the whole team dynamic, whatever that may be? How will it help? They need to understand the benefits. If they understand the benefits, then collaboration will become a lot easier for you. So as we zoom out here, I hope you're seeing that everything sort of starting to come together. I hope you are starting to understand what you need to do as a leader to gain a deeper level of influence over people who you lead towards a vision. So just a quick recap. As a leader, we need to be able to empower people to be their best selves and to make the best of situations. Leaders, of course, need a compelling vision of the future. So we need to be able to have that vision in place, and we need to be able to inspire people towards that vision, infuse them with enthusiasm and joy for that vision. We also need to develop deeper levels of trust, respect, and admiration, and that comes through certain factors that we discussed right here. So we need to trust people's judgment. We need to be more authentic, vulnerable, and encouraging. And we also need to be an inspiring example for people to follow. And then finally, right here is we need to be able to equip people with adequate knowledge, skills, and tools to get the job done. And all this in combination helps you to develop that deeper levels of trust, respect, and admiration you need in order to become a more influential leader. So I hope you found this video of value. If you did, then give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, then subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell icon to receive updates, and we will continue to explore a variety of personal development topics that can help you to live your best life, make the best of every single situation, sort of like the theme of this map. So if you enjoy these sort of maps, then there's hundreds of maps that we can explore in this very way. So definitely subscribe to the channel to receive the updates. You can of course download this map. You can read an article about this map where I break down each branch in detail. You can also check out all the other videos in this series, and everything there is all linked below in the description. So check out the description below the video and you'll find all the information, all the relevant links, and some other resources that you can gain access to for free. And so definitely check that out. And yeah, I hope that this video was of value, and thank you for watching again. I appreciate the time you took to watch this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video where we're going to explore how to activate people's desires. Thanks for watching. Take care.